Axl was absolutely punctual leaving the hotel, but the traffic destroyed us. And sorry we're a bit late. But anyway, I just want to say it is a huge honor for me and the China Exchange to have Axl today. He tells me it's the first time he appeared in public without his boots, so don't look down too much.
No, my cast.
Now, I don't know very much about rock music. I know a little bit, but not enough. So I'm going to allow perhaps some of you to ask him questions about music. I'm just going to ask him ordinary things, like what he likes, what he regards as tender. I mean, I have this image of you as not the gentlest man on earth. But surely there must be moments when you want to touch tenderness, or when you meet tenderness. What are those moments? I mean, can you remember the last time you felt something was rather nice and gentle?
Well, okay. I have no idea what to expect coming here, or what this is. I was asked to do this. I don't know why any of you would want to come here.
By the way, there are about 1,000 people on the waiting list, so you're very, very lucky to be here. But anyway, I want to ask you one or two questions that you normally might not be able to relate on stage as a performer.
When you talk about tenderness, that's kind of like sensitivity.
Love.
Well, I love animals, and I've had all kinds of different animals, and I like the way that sometimes an animal will know if someone else in the house is sick or something, the animal stays by that person.
You have dogs and cats?
I've had dogs and cats. And
how many dogs? How many
wolves
cats?
And birds and
bitches.
A couple wolves, a couple what, 5 or 6? We've had like 5 or 6 birds.
Yeah.
Chain of chihuahua.
So do you regard somebody who can't answer back as probably the gentlest class of things you encounter?
No. What I mean though is say with cats, if you don't keep yourself open to some degree to being sensitive, they're not going to be around you. So if you want to be friends with your cat, you have to be a bit more sensitive than the world may make you. With the world.
I mean, I'm only asking because on stage you never stop. You sing, you play. I mean, it is just one huge, as far as I'm concerned, like a Van de Graaff generator, maximum lightning, thunder, and so forth. So I want these people to understand when you finish and when you go home and you've had a good sleep, when you wake up, are you like normal people who want to have a coffee and just stretch yourself and have a shower and a bath?
Yeah. But it is like feeling like you know, when a tour leg ends, there's times it takes a while to decompress. It feels like it.
I know. I mean, there are moments when we know that you went reclusive. I mean, did you mind that? I mean, did you enjoy the period when you didn't want to see anybody and you were on your own?
Well, actually, I just didn't go anywhere where there was like paparazzi or anybody, cared or really recognized me. I went everywhere else. I just didn't go.
If people didn't recognize
if I went by a place where there was paparazzi, I just ducked. And then in LA, if you go to the Valley, no one in Hollywood cares.
Why didn't you wear something different or disguise
yourself? Well, I did.
And still you get recognized.
Well, no, and I would just look stupid if I went in Hollywood that way. It wouldn't work. When we first hit, I left a hotel in New York and I was in a cab and I had my jacket pulled over my head. And there's a guy in a garbage truck going, "Yo, Axl!"
Was it convertible? There was a Webesto.
I don't know how he did that.
But I think people know roughly where you are. They now chase you around. And now, let's go back to the music of it, because that's your life. We talked a little bit in the cab about lyrics. And I said to you that you are one of those people who've got wonderful lyrics, and not just the music itself, but the lyrics fit. And it's important to you because I know you read a lot, and that's why you relate to words. Would you say that you regard lyrics and your music as being incredibly important together?
Well, I think it depends on the song, but yet I've always felt that way. I mean, Bernie Taupin is my favorite lyricist, and when Elton asked me to induct him into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I took it on myself to induct him and Bernie as a writing pair. And it's my understanding it's the only award Bernie has ever gotten. You know, and he was pretty happy.
Yeah, well, there it is. I mean, classical music. Do you ever listen to classical music?
Yes, but not like, I guess the word formally or something.
So at home, when you listen to music, do you listen to your own music or other people's music?
Only mine.
But it took you 30 years to join AC/DC, so you must have listened to a bit of AC/DC.
Yeah, I mainly listen to the music that's playing during movies. I like the soundtracks.
Which film, which soundtrack do you think is sort of classic?
It depends. It can be anything. It can be something it could be the theme to Pirates of the Caribbean, or it could be Gladiator and Equalizer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're all different styles. So.
Have you ever wanted to?
I like the blend of orchestra, you know, with modern instrumentation.
So has anybody asked you, or have you thought about wanting to write for a film?
Yes. No, I haven't been asked. It's something that I wanted to do, and it was kind of more like really hard not to just go in that direction and forget about Guns N'
You would
Roses.
be interested.
I was more interested in that than staying in Guns N' Roses.
I mean, if somebody asked you to write the theme music,
It would have been easier and more fun.
if somebody asked you to write the theme music for Pride and Prejudice, I mean, would you consider that? I mean, you have a pretty violent relationship in that.
Yeah, I would.
I think you can jazz it up a bit. Well, there is. Listen.
But I have a lot of respect for the people that do that. On Chinese Democracy, most of the orchestration on that is, it's kind of like there's like 3 electronic orchestras and 2 real orchestras. One's Marco Beltrami, and one's Paul Buckmaster, who did a lot of Rolling Stones and Man Across the Water, Elton John stuff, and we blended all of those orchestras together. And it's like I did an electronic one, Chris Pittman and Dizzy Reed both did theirs, and then we would blend those, and we blended them with 2 real orchestras. So it's like a 500-piece orchestra.
We love that big sound.
Songs. Yeah.
We love that bit. But have you thought about bringing a couple of orchestras onto stage to perform live?
Maybe for like a show or something. I mean, we did it years ago when we made the video for November Rain, but on a tour, not as of yet. No.
And Chinese Democracy, that's, I heard, been banned in China.
Well, I think that the foreign minister, it was something he said, it's like that people don't like that music because it's too loud.
Yeah. And I'd love you to be able to go to China and meet the Minister of Culture. I think that would be...
But my thing with China itself isn't about, you know, with the term Chinese democracy, it wasn't about trying to tell them to have a democracy or anything like that. I am not really I don't really have an opinion of what type of government they should have. My thing is that I went and stayed there for about 3 months, and everywhere I went, the people are so shielded from what's going on in the world. And if you stay in the hotels there and you're from Western societies, and you don't realize that the stuff you're seeing on TV, the average person isn't seeing. They're not seeing that version of CNN or whatever. But the biggest thing to me was that everywhere you went, people were scared. They're frightened for their lives to have an opinion that deviates from the government's about the simplest thing. I mean, things that we take for granted, you know, sitting in a car and going, somebody goes, oh, I don't like what Obama did today. If you said, oh, you know, I don't know about the Communist Party's doing, your translator all of a sudden is terrified, for good reason.
Yes.
And that
is a soft grain.
I don't feel that. I feel that that's wrong. That's not right for anyone.
Are there other countries who feel more or less the same kind of censorship and a sort of soft grain of terror?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that we know that with, say, with the Taliban or things like that, or there'll be places in Africa, and you know, expressing your views in Egypt or Saudi Arabia. No, but I mean, but I do feel people should be free to have their opinions and develop their thoughts and to move forward rather than have someone just completely dictating.
All right, well look, listen.
But speaking as a dictator.
You love being a dictator?
No.
I'm sure you do. You always have it your way. When was the last time when you did not have it your way? Does anybody
like 30 years ago when the rest of the band was all on heroin, and they realized that this woman interviewing us for some tiny little rock magazine was more interested in interviewing them than me, as he said I was the, you know, like the Ayatollah, because I was the big enemy at the time, and then it's just stuck.
Well, anyway, that's their loss because we are the biggest rock star today. Look, listen, we're immediately going to start some questions, but they've got to be intelligent, and if Axl doesn't want to answer it, you can go to hell, and that's about it. Now, who dares ask the question? All right, that's first hand at the back. Let's have a good question, okay? Otherwise, we'll be passed over.
Axl, how do you manage to keep your voice in check, and has it changed in the last 10 years, like what you do to keep it so good?
I do a lot of vocal exercises, and actually on this particular tour, I brought my voice coach out with that. I hadn't worked with in like 20 years, but the Brian Johnson Back in Black stuff is really demanding, you know, and sing it wrong and you might not be singing again, so. Thank you.
All right, next one, in front. Who was going to ask the question? All right, go on. Yeah, go on. That man who looks like. Right, yeah.
Hi there, big fan. Did you ever feel that your voice is obviously a natural fit for rock and that kind of genre, but did you ever feel that you wanted to branch out a bit more, maybe collaborate, maybe join a jazz band, who knows?
I like Frank Sinatra, and I like a lot of Elvis. I like a lot of 70s Elvis though as well. So I like a lot of different styles of things. Yeah. I don't know about a jazz band. It would really just kind of depend on the song. You know, for a while, like with the Chinese, I was trying to get my voice a lot clearer, and I feel that like maybe fans didn't necessarily respond to that so much as well sometimes with shows and things, but I think it was very good for me to be even better at what I'm doing right now.
Okay, let's have a couple of questions here. Yeah, go on.
Hi, Axl. And are you...
Shout it out.
Sorry, are you making any new music at the minute? Are you working on new stuff?
We are working on new stuff, but I don't know. Like I said a long time ago, I don't know if soon's the word. But
Yeah.
no, I got a lot of stuff together, and I've played some stuff for Slash and Duff, and they like it, and they might be on it. We don't know. That's been talked about. Angus and I are talking about working together, so we'll see.
Have you ever thought of doing a solo album to like?
No, not really. Unless it was, say, like instrumental soundtracks. So.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Thanks.
Hi, Axl, how are you doing? Yeah, I just wondered, what do you think of Spotify? And, you know, do you think it's ruining the music industry? You know, what are your thoughts on it?
No, I don't think it's ruining the music industry, but I feel like with YouTube and things like with Google, and YouTube that it's really changed things for the artists, and they, the government's just stepped out of the way. I mean, they lobbied very hard to pay as minimal royalties as they can. I don't think that's right.
Can people stop?
It's pretty giant.
Can people stop video, please? It's very disconcerting. Let's just enjoy the conversation, okay? All right, come on. This is a rare opportunity for you. Don't record it. Enjoy it live, for fuck's sake. No point going home watching your stupid video. Enjoy it now, as is, okay? Right, come on. No more fucking photographs of videos.
It's fine, it's fine, it's fine.
Like a very little girl. Are you sure you ought to be here?
I like your sunglasses.
But you will grow up liking and loving. This moment you will always remember. Okay.
Massive fan, by the way. Saw you on Saturday. Amazing.
You have fun?
Yeah. Is there any band, present, past, whatever, that you would like to perform with?
To join? Well, I never thought about this, and what I thought about with this was the day that I read about Brian, was that the band was going to be in trouble, and no matter what happened, if they canceled, they had to cancel the tour. They were going to have a lot of problems with fans and a lot of problems with legalities, just natural business stuff behind the scenes forever. And then I thought, yeah, and if they postpone or whatever, then find someone else. Wait a minute, find someone else? Fuck that. So it was, but it's also that Angus is my biggest influence for moving around, and I wanted to help, and I just want to help him.
Hi Axl, massive fan. Just want to say, thank you for all the great music you've done over these years. It helped me get through a really bad place in my life. And listening to all that.
Very little bit of music, but
every song has great meaning to me. Anyway.
Do you remember the question?
Yeah, sorry. Starstruck, sorry. How do you see yourself as now, as in yourself and as a person, and how you saw yourself back then? Because back in the day, obviously, how the media portrayed in stuff we've seen, you're very raucous, very aggressive, and now how I see you now, and how you have been over recent times, you seem more open, you seem more relaxed, more in a better place.
Well, part of that then also was just being young and part wild and part of it to be rock and roll. But when we would go to MTV, they'd ask us to tear their set apart, so, stuff like that. And then there was this everything that was said, and England's one of the craziest places for that, because the media here would just write anything to promote you in a way. They said I ran over my dogs and I ate them. long before Depp ate his, I ate mine, and so they said all kinds of crazy things back then.
You feeling the better?
And then after it was successful, then it was like a backlash that was just never really got out of.
Do you feel in a better place now that you're all good with your former band members, or current band members now, like Slash and
Yeah, we're getting along really good and stuff. Like they came to the ACDC show and stuff.
I've seen the footage. It was like a quick clip of when you were at the Troubadour, the first one you did that, and it was so nice just to see the black and white footage of you walking to stage and you're with Slash, and the guys were just laughing. It was a really good moment to see.
Good. All right. Right. This man who dressed like me doesn't look like me. I mean, do you know who this person is? No, but I promise you, you know Axl Rose. You know what band he played two nights ago?
Well, let me just say, actually, that
I like your socks. You got some really bright socks.
Ask the question anyway.
Okay. No, what I would say is I was lucky to see you, Axl,
almost 25 years ago performing at the Freddie Mercury tribute concert. It was a great event, and I wondered if you could talk perhaps maybe a little bit about the event, or perhaps, I know you're a fan of Freddie, perhaps influences like Freddie on your career as a musician. I'm also a fan, I should say, of Skid Row, and I know you're a friend of Sebastian Bach, and I wondered if you'd be doing anything perhaps more with him in future in terms of collaboration.
On that, I don't know. We're friends. I mean, if the occasion arises, you know, and he'll probably get up on stage with us somewhere. With Freddie, Queen's just always been my favorite band, and Freddie is like, you know, the greatest singer probably ever, and it's the way I look at it. But the other thing about Queen for me was that they embrace so many different styles and approaches, and like you were talking tenderness, there's that, which is funny. It's like with AC/DC, you don't find that much in Brian's work with AC/DC, but what I liked also about Bonds and old AC/DC was, as aggressive as that music was, he would talk about having a broken heart or something like that, so it made it okay for guys to feel and let some of it out some way. Something happened.
Yes, let's have a lady. Girl, woman. Yeah,
she's going everywhere.
Ms. Rose, hello. Would you be interested in working with children's charities in London?
That's very possible, yes.
Shall we discuss it afterwards?
Sure.
Okay, let's have another woman. Let's get another woman. One minute.
Which Guns N' Roses song means most to you to perform, or the one that you love to perform most?
It's a very cliche question.
No, I don't know. Right now, I like performing the Chinese democracy stuff the most, but it was really good to be doing the song Coma. I knew that would make Slash happy, I knew it would make fans happy, and since I was sitting in the chair, I didn't have to worry about running around and trying to breathe.
All right, okay, at the back.
Axl, how you doing? It's really cool having a microphone talking to you.
Where are you?
I'm at the back.
Get on with it.
I'm just forming a band myself, and I was wondering, when you first signed to Geffen Records, and I think it was 1986, was there a moment where you thought, I know it's gonna happen, this is gonna absolutely happen? Or were you just terrified?
We knew that with getting signed. We knew that we believed in ourselves then. We were like, and then we had to sit on our asses for about 4 months, and it almost broke up the whole band and everybody dived into drugs and stuff, because whatever the record company was doing to figure out who would work with us, and everybody was terrified of us anyway, because they just thought we were all going to die, you know. And so we were going to leave the label because like Slash and Izzy wanted to go play. We wanted to play, and we wanted to get out to New York or something, you know. We didn't get signed to sit in an apartment at the time, but yeah, we believed in it happening.
Are you afraid of death? I mean, do you feel that you haven't done as much as you want to yet, as of today?
I don't know. I don't really think about it that way. You know, I'm usually just trying to survive in some way. Like when I go on stage with AC/DC, I'm trying to survive, not just be crushed by
trying to survive,
that
I
band.
don't know what you would be like. All right, let's man with a beard.
Hi, Axl, massive fan. Appetite Destruction was the first ever.
Can we use another word rather than massive? All right, like elephantine, dinosaurial.
Obviously, you've been around the world many times, everywhere. What would you say is your top 3 moments from your whole career and why?
Playing? You mean
anything, absolutely anything. Anything you've seen, somewhere you've been, something you've done on stage, anything.
I don't know. I mean, right now, this is a very big undertaking for me, and not just, it's because a band's fans are, like, I know how hard it is. Lots of bands do not want to open for us. They just don't want to. They don't want to deal with our fans. And it's a lot, that's kind of the same with an AC/DC thing, and AC/DC fans are very serious about their band. So that was kind of the biggest thing, was even if I sang the songs right, it's finding whatever in you that's strong enough to deal with that energy of that crowd. I had no idea. I mean, I knew I could do it with mine, but that's like, and that's still a lot of work, but it's also a comfort zone and a safety zone. So this was a big thing. I still got 3 shows to screw it all up.
Hi, Rich or Saturday. If you could go back in time and speak to your younger self, what advice would you give, given all what you've experienced?
I would have tried to form my own label rather than put a record on. You know, I just think we were too stupid to know how to do that. We didn't think that big at the time. You know, I didn't have that type of a business education, and I just think that that's what we should have done.
I think you've done quite well.
We should have formed our own company and figured out how to distribute our own record, and then.
You mean in monetary terms?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you think that's more important than that. It makes us feel very, very small. All right, let's have another one.
Why?
Well, because you must have made lots of money. If you say that was, if you had done better, you would have made even more money.
Yeah, but it was not just the money. It was the
more in control.
Yeah, but not as a control freak. It's just to because of the success of Appetite, and like we were talking in the car. I mean, after Appetite, David Geffen was just, to me, was just more concerned with selling the company rather than helping things get back in line to what we'd signed as a contract to make an album. Had we
to this day, that album has sold more than any other album in America.
No, it's rock album. I think is 3rd or 4th or something. I mean, there's Thriller, there's AC/DC's Back in Black, and we're somewhere.
No, my point is that.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that then we would have had a lot bigger platform to figure out how to deal with the next 20 years.
Yeah, but I didn't see how you can have a bigger platform than you have now today. Anyway. All right.
Yeah, well, that's 27 years later.
Go on, young man, yeah. How old are you?
I'm 15.
15? Okay.
So, as like a young person myself, I usually see a lot of people with Guns N' Roses tops and that, and like, I've been up to a few people and like, have you actually even heard their music? And a lot of people haven't even heard of the band themselves, so I just wanted like your thoughts on that, because I see it all the time with Nirvana and stuff like that, like people wear tops even though they don't really listen to the band.
And Victoria's Secret models and AC/DC
yeah.
shirts. I'm not sure, but yeah. Yeah, I like when they like to sleep in Guns N' Roses shirts. But, you know, the promotion's good. I mean, you're not going to, people, if they think it's cool, so it's better to than think it's cool than hate it, I guess.
All right, come on.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Axl. Huge fan. Okay.
Good.
Right, I've read all the books. I've read Slash's book, I've read Duff's book, I've read some pretty dreadful books, but I'd really like to hear your version. Are you going to write a book?
I think so, possibly, yes.
Please do.
But it's tough because I haven't figured out how to word things in a way that doesn't just look like I'm being negative to everybody else or calling them a liar, you know? Or, because, you know, it was with the first, Slash and I hadn't talked in 19 years. And when we did talk, I was like, dude, and he wrote a lot of stuff that didn't even happen. It's not real, you know? And,
what did he say?
Okay.
And how's your relationship with Angus of AC/DC?
It's great. I can't really explain it. I feel like just I feel something that like I feel protective, and I feel like I do not want to let this guy down. And I, more than almost anybody I've ever known, and I don't know why. And he's very responsive to me, and you know, they said they haven't seen him this happy, they haven't seen him moving around, and in between songs he started playing other stuff, and I'm like, oh, I like that chord, write a song around that. So that's kind of a neat thing between musicians and artists.
Go on. All right, okay.
Hello, Axl. I'm a music journalist. I started my career with Rolling Stone magazine. I have this question I've asked artists over my 8-year career. I'd love to ask you this question. If you had the power to create the ultimate musician, which artists from the past and present would you use as building blocks, and why?
Well, are you talking about anything? So I mean, you could go all the way back to classical music or something like that. So I don't know. I think it's probably, obviously there's like Elvis, but the Beatles, whatever the Beatles did, like you can hate the Beatles. Like you know, there's always people, who do you like, the Beatles or the Stones? You know, or you can like both, but there's also the ones that pit one against the other. But though the Stones were influenced by a lot of other things, because of all the things the Beatles were doing, it helped push the Stones to become the Stones. And to me, the Beatles are like some catalyst that made everybody else realize it was okay to try all these other things and to work on all these different sounds because of how many different ways, places the Beatles went. So I don't know. I mean, that's 4 people, not 1, or actually 5 if you. George Martin, you know, and, so if you put all that together. So maybe that and Elvis and Beethoven.
Hi, I was fortunate enough to be in Vegas for the first night reading, and what seemed to work really well, I think, for the reviews afterwards, chemistry with the founders. It's pretty amazing, really. How did that come about? How did you go from such a difficult place to such great chemistry live?
I'm a big fan of our previous lineup before getting back with Slash and Duff. And we did a lot of work with that and with our drummer, Frank, and Dizzy and Richard. And, you know, to Slash's credit, what I gotta say is he and Duff, like Duff had played with the last lineup a few shows and came in and played the way we did the songs. And then going into getting ready for Vegas and Coachella, they all chose to, they just worked very hard, and Duff and Slash came in and worked very hard with Frank on the rhythm. Because that's how they like to work with the drummer, and the drummer having a relationship with Richard, that just worked really good. They liked Richard, everybody liked each other. I didn't have to tell Slash anything about embracing the, you know, working on the Chinese democracy songs or how to play them. He just embraced them and worked really hard. And I had no idea how they were going to sound. I never heard him play certain ways. The last times we talked, he was saying, I don't want to work that hard, da-da-da. So for him to take on Buckethead or Bumblehead's part, Bumblehead, Buckethead and Bumblefoot's parts, and just step to it on his own and work at it and like it and enjoy it, that helped a lot. And so they worked really good in the rehearsals together. Sat in on it.
All right. That boy, yeah.
Hi, Axl, colossal fan.
Come on!
Yeah, words. I'd like to know, as a musician who's not really doing quite as well as you,
Give
my band.
Good luck.
Thanks. I'd like to know what you think is the difference between audiences of modern day and like when you started, like enthusiasm and like what they do at the gigs and that sort of thing.
Well, do you mean at other people's shows?
No, at yours, you know, and just
no, well, I would say definitely that in a good sense, and for years now. It's you know, when we were opening for bigger bands, and then when we first started headlining, it's like, you know, you didn't have everybody videoing and stuff like that. I don't think anybody knows how violent it was. I mean, no, it was really violent in the crowds. I mean, I don't think it was as bad as when Woodstock with Limp Bizkit and 9 Inch Nails or whatever got really out of hand. But I mean, there were shows where there would be a wheelchair coming on stage because they're standing on somebody that fell out, you know, and you have to stop the show. It's like I got a lot of grief for stopping the shows for no reason, and that was media, just somebody being, however, when I say media is somebody writing and for somebody else, and they're protected by that company and whatever, and saying whatever they want, whether it's true or not. And there was just a lot of really rowdy crowds. I mean, people liked the music, but that, you know, they might want to beat themselves up. I remember when we first started, you would have security that was looking for that. So they want to get in and get in a fight with somebody. And, you know, and we put a stop to that pretty quick and got rid of people working for us that wanted to go beat up kids. It's like a lot of cops get jobs because then they can beat up people for, you know, and it's legally protected. That's the way people getting sometimes working for security did. So it was really violent, and it's not as near that now.
It's better now.
Yeah, a lot better.
Yeah.
Hi Axl, gigantic fan.
We've had that.
Yeah, the Appetite for Destruction album for me is one of the best rock albums ever released. It's up there with...
What's the question?
For the modern social climate with bands and music that's in this 21st century, what advice would you give for young bands with social media and stuff like that?
No, you have to figure out how to follow your heart. I mean, I believe in being completely what you feel is being creative, but you also have to figure out how to make a living at it, you know. And I don't mean like compromising, but you need to take, if someone's telling you to compromise, you can take what they're saying into consideration, but then still figure out how to be real and do it your way, you know. But like if someone's telling you, oh, you need to edit the song, and like, Geffen was that way back in the day, and telling us to edit it this way and that way, and their only concern was that it was a shorter song, so for advertising dollars and getting airplay. But instead, you decided to take it as constructive criticism and maybe make a better, shorter song, which, by illusions, we got rid of them, so we didn't do anything.
All right, you were the microphone really there.
Hi Axl, I'm a monumental fan, I don't think I've had yet. Just wondering, after your injury, you got the rock thrown off Dave Grohl. I was wondering like how that came about and how it felt for you, who normally like you know such a dynamic stage presence, to kind of be constrained to a chair. Like, how did it affect you?
It came out of one necessity and respect for that chair, because whatever he did designing that chair, he said he was like high on oxy after his surgery, and he drew this thing, and he's got you can find the picture on the internet. But I knew he made the chair, and my people were having one made, and I never even saw it, and they said when they got it, it was Cirque du Soleil was building it or something, and when they got it, it was horrible, and one of my assistants' boyfriend said, somebody in this band knows Grohl, but they didn't tell me, so it was a surprise. And I'd never met Dave, and I'd always wanted to work with Dave. And then he sent the chair and came to the show, and he was saying how he missed it. In the chair, at first it's really strange, and you have to figuring out how you're doing something, but then people apparently liked however I was moving in it. I never felt like I was moving enough, but you do start to get used to it. I had to make myself get out of it with AC/DC. They didn't tell me to, but I made myself get out of that chair, and but because you start feeling, as Angus says, a little bit too comfy, because it's like it becomes a safety zone rather than have to get out there and to face the people in another way. So, and when the chair came down, I guess he was. My people told me he was in the hallway going, I missed this thing. I feel like an emperor.
All right, two more women. All right, you go first.
Hi Axl, thanks for being with us today. One question I have is, for the future, is there any subject that you haven't touched on in your lyrics and in your music that you would like to express towards fans in the world still? So be it, you know, emotional or justice or things like that.
I haven't really given that in any thought. I mean, I think it's all kind of like right in the back of your head about how you're going to attack the next songs and stuff. And so part of me feels like I'm happy that I didn't write things a year ago to something, because I feel like what I'm going to go at it with now is going to be stronger.
Yeah, so ginormous, have you heard that?
No, it's good. Ginormous. Yeah, that's the best one.
I just wanted to ask, now that you're touring again in the States with Guns N' Roses, are there any plans to come to the UK or extend it to Europe?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope to keep this going for quite a while. It just really, we're right now, it's all good. I mean, obviously that could just explode. But no, everything actually is good between everybody. So as long as we can keep it going, we're probably really love it.
Hello Axl, such an honour to have you here, thank you so much. Tremendous fan, but probably not as much as somebody who I wish was in this room tonight. Someone I grew up with changed overnight because of the music that you and Guns N' Roses came out with. We were 13 at the time. He just changed everything. He became a musician because of you. He was a massive Guns N' Roses fan, but sadly, 14 years ago, he passed away. So he would be asking me if he were here, or if you were here, he'd be asking you, what's on your bucket list?
My bucket list. I haven't thought of that. I would probably be doing some soundtrack.
You did say
soundtrack material or something like that. And I do want to put out more music with Guns N' Roses, and I don't know if that has to do with Slash or not, but underneath the Guns N' Roses thing, and if he and I write something or he wants to play on something that we have, it's like that would be great. But I haven't, it's kind of, I've been working to get kind of where things are. I mean, this isn't, the Guns N' Roses reunion isn't just kind of like by chance or whatever. It was always looked at as a possibility, but it just never seemed right or felt right.
But also just in your personal life, not necessarily musically, is there something that you're jumping
Right now, I'm kind
of. Have you ever jumped a parachute?
No, as Izzy said, why would I jump out of a perfectly good plane? I tried to get him to in a video, and he was like, not going to happen.
I say once, I think, that if you were God, you would want to make 3/4 of the human race women, and the other pizza and beer.
It's just something dumb to say on stage, that's all.
That would be perfect well for you.
Yeah, I'd be pretty good. And Netflix, as long as we got Netflix.
Well, we're coming to the end, so 3 or 4 very quick questions. Right, you.
Hi Axl, you're a legend in your own lifetime. In my opinion.
We know that.
I was just wondering, what's your recipe for a song, a good song? Do you compose by yourself on the piano, or is it a collective thing with your band?
We actually were talking about that on the way. I feel that I've been most successful if I start with lyrics and melody first. That doesn't mean always. I mean, Coma, I wrote that to the music. But I can do that. But I feel like after Appetite, I haven't really ever found a way to be back in the position of writing lyrics and melody first. It's usually the other way around. And I would say that's not necessarily from other people after Old Guns or the Appetite Illusions lineup broke up. Because I would say that was more from me being in a weaker stage, so I worked with artists to work on getting the music or instrumental stuff strong first, and then try to put the lyrics in me to rise to that. But I think for me, it's better if I'm putting unless I'm intentionally writing an instrumental, it would be lyrics and melody first.
Okay, now we're going to have one last question, and it's got to be a brilliant question. Okay? Now,
a lot of pressure now.
You don't look very interested.
We got some competitors.
We want to really, you've asked the question earlier. Now that lady, because we always have ladies first, you look quite sophisticated. Come on, you asked the question.
He thought it was his.
Not brilliant.
He really thought it was his.
Yeah.
Hi, I saw you on Saturday, you were amazing.
You got an AC/DC shirt?
I have.
Show everybody.
The music industry is going through a pretty tricky time, and obviously different artists seem to be dealing with it in different ways. So you've got Radiohead that are self-releasing things, and then you have people like Morrissey that really wants to have, like, belong to a label and have that security. Where do you stand on that, and also where do you see the music industry sort of going in the future business-wise?
Well, to me, in the late 90s to now, it's like the heads of record companies realized, and it's not just my opinion, they've said it to me. It's like I tell people, I don't get in fights with people that are in the music industry, I get in fights with people that are the music industry. And they realized that for their business, they don't, why deal with a band? You know, all they need is a star and a producer. Somebody they feel is a star and a producer. And if they don't even care who writes what, how it writes, you know, or what it sounds like. It doesn't matter. They could be a genuine fan of music, say the record company owner, president, whatever. But when it comes to their business, it doesn't have anything to do with that. It just has to do with what's going to be the easiest, what's going to make the most money and work, make their company and the shareholders happy and stuff like that. Which I can respect that in a sense, but as an artist and a musician and working with bands, it doesn't help me, you know, at all. And I don't think it helps music. And you know, and it doesn't help the bands become self-sufficient and successful. They got to work a lot harder because the labels are more worried about them making the money.
It's really sad.
Listen, yes, it is, but don't worry. Artists always.
Now the pressure's on me now. Back on me.
No, listen. I want to say it is a huge honor for Axl to come here today, and I want you all, please, to respect this last hour. And as I said, just to enjoy yourself. Please don't try to imagine that this is just a private gathering, and then you don't, you know, start writing things publicly about it. Of course, you can talk about.
I didn't have anything to do with it.
And when Axl leaves, please, I just stay behind because I've got another man coming who is, and it shows you the diversity of China Exchange. Here we have Axl Rose. In 10 minutes' time, we've got Nicholas Soames, who's the grandson of Winston Churchill, coming to speak about something else.
There you go.
So I hope that those of you who are coming...
talk about intelligent things.
No, I think that he's going to say something very dumb. He's very fat. And those of you who are coming the first time, please come back. We've got lesser people, but interesting people coming throughout the show.
Did you say less of evil or?
More evil, perhaps. I mean, the point is that you are everything you see. A lot of people are a lot of what you don't see. Those are the monsters and the demons. But listen, I don't want there to be another crush for, you know, middle class behavior like selfies, okay? So please try to restrain yourself. When I finish in 1 minute, I'm going to ask...
we got like attacked outside, so...
And I don't want Axl to feel that this is just another mob. So in 1 minute, I'm going to ask his friends and his entourage to leave in relative non-rock star style. And please, just...
I'll sign the script. I'll do whatever people want to do.
Are you sure?
We practiced this.
the man in charge to say when it's enough. But before that, will you please, all of you, please join me in thanking Axl Rose for coming today.
The first time that I came to London, I was with my manager, who was English. The first time I came to London, and we're in this car after we left the bar, and they're like, "Can I have your friend's number?" And he's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Well, because when I'm in jail with you, I need someone to call."
Axl Rose again.